Angela lived in a quiet neighborhood. It was a place where people mostly kept to themselves, but many still said hello when they saw each other. Angela loved this neighborhood. She had a small house with a little garden out front. Her daughter, Mia, was 6 years old. Mia loved to play outside, especially when the sun was shining. Angela worked as a nurse at the nearby hospital. She worked hard every day to provide a good life for Mia. Even though life was sometimes tough, Angela always kept a smile on her face. She believed that kindness and hard work could make things better. One thing Angela was very proud of was a diamond necklace she wore. This necklace was special to her. It was not just any necklace. It was a gift from her grandmother. Angela's grandmother had given it to her before she passed away. The necklace was a family treasure. It reminded Angela of her roots, her family, and the love she had received over the years. Whenever Angela wore the necklace, she felt connected to her grandmother and to the stories of strength and hope in her family. On this sunny afternoon, Angela decided to wear the necklace while playing with Mia outside. Mia loved to run around the yard and pick flowers. Angela watched her daughter with joy in her heart. She sat on the small bench near the flower bed, smiling as Mia chased butterflies. The necklace sparkled gently in the sunlight. It was a beautiful sight, and Angela felt peaceful. Across the street lived a woman named Karen. Karen was in her late 50s. She had lived in the neighborhood for many years and liked things to be just the way she wanted. She was very proud of her house, her garden, and her status in the community. But Karen had a problem. She did not like change, and she often found herself judging people quickly. Karen had strong feelings about who belonged in the neighborhood and who did not. These feelings came from her past, from what she had seen and heard. Unfortunately, many of these feelings were unfair and based on stereotypes. When Karen looked out her window that afternoon, she saw Angela wearing the diamond necklace. Something inside her stirred. She thought, why is she wearing such an expensive necklace? Does she really belong here? Karen did not know Angela well. She had never tried to understand her or talk to her, but her mind made quick judgments. She watched closely as Angela and Mia played. The necklace caught the light, shining bright and beautiful. Karen's thoughts became darker. She wondered if Angela had stolen the necklace. No one from the street would wear something like that unless they had earned it, she thought. Karen was wrong, but she believed her own story. She felt threatened by what she did not understand. So, instead of asking Angela or getting to know her, Karen decided to act. She picked up her phone and called the police. Angela did not know what was happening. She was happy and enjoying the day with Mia, but suddenly she saw flashing lights and heard sirens. Police officers arrived at her house. Neighbors began to come out and watch. Angela's heart raced with confusion and fear. The officers asked her questions about the necklace. Angela explained that it was a gift from her grandmother, a family heirloom. She showed them pictures of her grandmother and told stories about her. Mia stood quietly beside Angela, holding her mother's hand tightly. She did not understand why the police were there or why her mother looked worried. Angela tried to stay calm, but inside she felt hurt. She wondered why someone would think she had done something wrong just because of the necklace she wore and the color of her skin. The police officers looked at each other. Some of them seemed unsure about what to do. Karen stood nearby, watching. With a satisfied smile, she thought she had done the right thing. The neighbors whispered among themselves. Some were shocked by the police presence. Others stayed silent, unsure of what to think. Angela's friend, Lisa, who lived 2 houses down, came outside. She knew Angela well. Lisa saw the police and rushed over to support her friend. She told the officers about Angela's good character and how she worked hard every day. Lisa reminded everyone that Angela was part of the community and well respected. Slowly, some neighbors began to speak up. They talked about Angela's kindness, her help with community events, and her warm smile. Angela felt a little better, knowing that some people believed in her. But the damage was done. Karen's call had caused pain and fear in Angela and Mia's hearts. Angela thought about the necklace again. It was more than just jewelry. It was a symbol of her family's history and love. But now, it had become a reason for suspicion and hate. Angela wished she could show Karen and others that judging someone without knowing their story was wrong. She hoped one day the neighborhood would be a place where everyone was treated with respect, no matter who they were. That afternoon, Angela held Mia close and promised her that they would get through this together. She decided to stay strong and face whatever came next with courage. Angela believed that truth and kindness would win in the end. After Karen made the call, the police arrived at Angela's house quickly. The officers got out of their cars and walked toward her front yard with serious faces. Angela was still holding Mia's hand, and her heart felt heavy with worry. Did not understand why the police were here or what they wanted. Her neighbors watched quietly from their doorways and windows, curious and concerned. One officer introduced himself and politely asked Angela to explain about the necklace she was wearing. Angela told him it was a gift from her grandmother, a family treasure passed down to her. She showed the officer the necklace closely, pointing out its beauty and importance. Also shared stories about her grandmother, about how much the necklace meant to her and how it connected her to her family's past, but the officer seemed doubtful. He asked Angela questions in a way that made her feel uncomfortable. He wanted to know where she got the necklace, if she had bought it, or if anyone else could prove it belonged to her. Angela answered honestly, but the officer's face did not change. Karen stood nearby, watching everything with a cold expression. She looked satisfied that her call had caused a big reaction. Mia was confused and scared. She looked up at her mother, not understanding why strangers in uniforms were asking so many questions. Angela knelt down and hugged her daughter tightly, trying to calm her fears. "It's okay, Mia," Angela whispered softly. "We will be okay." But inside, Angela felt a deep sadness. She never thought that something as simple as wearing a necklace would lead to this moment. Other neighbors began to come outside. Some stood in groups, whispering quietly to each other. Few shook their heads sadly. One man, Mr. Johnson, who lived next door, crossed the street and came over to Angela. Said, "Angela, I know you. You're a good person. This trouble you." Angela smiled weakly and thanked him. It helped her feel a little less alone. The police continued their questions. They asked Angela to show proof that she owned the necklace. Angela reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope. Inside was a certificate of appraisal she had gotten when her grandmother had given her the necklace, showed the necklace's value, and confirmed that it was real. She handed it to the officer. The officer looked at the certificate carefully. Slowly, his expression softened. He turned to Karen and said, "There is no reason to believe this necklace was stolen." Karen's smile faded, and she looked away. Angela felt a small spark of hope. One of the younger officers approached and said quietly, "Ma'am, we are sorry for any trouble. We will need to take a report, but it looks like everything is fine." Angela nodded but still felt shaken. The whole situation had hurt her deeply. She wished Karen had come to her directly instead of calling the police. Meanwhile, a few neighbors began to step forward to support Angela. Mrs. Thompson, a kind woman who lived across the street, said Angela is one of the most honest people I know. She helps everyone and never causes any trouble. Another neighbor added, "I've seen her take care of Mia with so much love. We trust her." Karen grew quieter as the support for Angela grew stronger. She realized that her assumptions were wrong and that she had caused unnecessary pain. Some neighbors looked at her with disappointment. The neighborhood that once felt safe and calm was now filled with tension. Angela took a deep breath and decided to speak up. She said to the small crowd, "This necklace means a lot to me and my family. It is a symbol of love and strength. But more than that, I want us all to remember how dangerous it is to judge others without knowing their stories. I hope this can be a lesson for all of us." The neighbors listened silently. Mia, still holding her mother's hand, looked up with innocent eyes. She did not understand everything, but knew her mother was brave. Angela hugged her daughter tightly. The officers finished their report and left. The police cars drove away slowly, leaving the neighborhood quieter than before. Angela felt tired but determined. She knew the road ahead might be hard, but she wanted to keep moving forward with hope and dignity. That evening, Angela sat on the couch with Mia. They talked about the day and how important it was to be kind and fair to everyone. Angela promised Mia that she would always protect her and teach her to be strong no matter what challenges they faced. Across the street, Karen sat alone, thinking about what had happened. She realized that her fear and prejudice had caused pain to a good woman and her child. She wondered if she could make things right again. But the damage was done, and the neighborhood would never be the same. Angela's story soon began to spread quietly through the community. People started to talk about the importance of respect and understanding. Some neighbors apologized too. Angela for not standing up sooner. Others promised to learn more about each other and to be more open. Angela's necklace, once a cause for suspicion, had now become a symbol of something more powerful: courage, truth, and the fight against unfair judgment. Angela knew that, by sharing her story, she could help others see the harm of prejudice and the beauty of acceptance. The day had been difficult, but Angela's spirit remained strong. She looked forward to brighter days where she and Mia could live without fear, surrounded by neighbors who truly cared. And even though Karen's call had brought pain, it had also opened a door to change. After the police left, the story did not end for Angela. The events of that day spread quickly through the neighborhood. Some people whispered quietly behind closed doors. Others talked openly, sharing their thoughts with neighbors and friends. Many people began to realize that Angela was not just a stranger, but someone who had always been kind and hardworking. The support for her started to grow stronger. Angela's friends and neighbors knew her well. They remembered how she always helped others without asking for anything in return. There was Mrs. Thompson, who lived across the street, not often relied on Angela's advice about her health. Mr. Johnson, the man next door, had seen Angela caring for Mia and helping around the block. People who had once been quiet now spoke up to share stories of Angela's kindness and honesty. One day, a group of neighbors gathered outside Angela's house. They wanted to show her that they believed in her and stood with her. Lisa, Angela's close friend, spoke first. She said, "Angela is a wonderful person. We know her character. What happened was wrong, and we want to support her." The neighbors nodded in agreement, feeling proud to be part of a community that could come together. Meanwhile, the police officer who had led the investigation thought carefully about the case. He reviewed all the evidence again, including the certificate of appraisal Angela had shown him. He checked with other officers and spoke to people in the neighborhood. Slowly, he understood how the situation had been unfair to Angela. The officer called Karen to the station for a talk. He wanted to explain why making a false accusation could harm people in communities. Karen listened quietly, but did not say much. She was beginning to see the consequences of her actions. The officer reminded her about the importance of fairness and the danger of judging people too quickly. He hoped this conversation would make her think twice before doing something like this again. At the same time, the neighbors who had supported Angela started to share her story on social media. They posted kind words and stories about Angela's good heart and strong spirit. The posts received many likes and comments. People from other neighborhoods, and even from other cities, read about what had happened and sent messages of encouragement. Angela felt touched by the kindness. Even though the day with the police had been painful, she was grateful to see that many people believed her and wanted to help. She decided to use this moment to speak openly about a difficult subject: racial bias and unfair treatment. Angela reached out to a local community center and asked if she could talk about her experience. She wanted to help others understand how harmful it was to judge someone based on their skin color or assumptions. The community center agreed and organized a small event where Angela shared her story. During the event, Angela spoke with calm and strength. She told everyone about the necklace, her grandmother, and the love behind it. She explained how the false accusation made her feel scared and sad, but also gave her a chance to teach others. People listened carefully. Many nodded in agreement. Some even shared their own stories of unfair treatment. The event brought neighbors closer. It helped them see that their community needed to be kinder and more accepting. Angela's words encouraged people to look beyond their fears and learn about each other's lives. The neighborhood slowly began to heal. Back at Angela's home, Mia played quietly, unaware of the changes happening around her. Angela watched her daughter with hope. She wanted Mia to grow up in a world where everyone was treated fairly and kindly. Angela promised herself she would keep working for that better future. Karen, on the other hand, felt the weight of the community's response. Some neighbors avoided her. Others spoke about her behind her back. Karen realized she had lost respect and friendship because of her actions. She felt lonely, but knew she had to change if she wanted to be accepted again. One afternoon, Karen decided to visit Angela. She wanted to apologize for what she had done. Angela listened quietly as Karen spoke. She said she was sorry for hurting Angela and causing pain to her, and she hoped Karen would learn from this experience and be more understanding in the future. The meeting was a small step toward healing. It showed that people could change and grow. Angela believed that forgiveness and honest talk were powerful tools to build a better community. As time went on, Angela's story continued to inspire others. Local newspapers wrote articles about her strength and kindness. Some schools invited her to speak to students about respect and fairness. Angela used every chance to remind people that judging others without knowing their stories only caused harm. Her diamond necklace, once a reason for suspicion, had become a symbol of courage and hope. It reminded everyone that behind every person was a story worth listening to and respecting. The neighborhood started to feel different. People smiled more. They greeted each other warmly and helped their neighbors. The painful day with the police became a lesson that changed many hearts. Angela and Mia continued to live happily, surrounded by a community learning to be better. The future looked bright because of the kindness and understanding that grew from a difficult moment. After the neighborhood began to show support for Angela, the police officers realized how important it was to make things right. The officer in charge came back to Angela's house to apologize personally. He said, "We are sorry for the trouble. This has caused you and your daughter. It was wrong to treat you this way without proper reason." Angela nodded quietly, appreciating the apology, but still feeling the weight of what had happened. She knew it would take time for the hurt to heal. The officers also spoke to some of the neighbors, encouraging everyone to treat each other fairly and with respect. They reminded people that assumptions based on skin color or appearance were dangerous and unfair. The police made it clear that they would not tolerate false reports that come from prejudice. This message helped many people in the community to think carefully about their own biases and behavior. Angela found strength in the kind words from her neighbors. Many people came by to visit her, bringing flowers, food, and words of encouragement. Mrs. Thompson brought freshly baked cookies, and Mr. Johnson helped fix a broken step on her porch. These small acts of kindness showed Angela that she was not alone. She began to feel hopeful again. But not everyone was happy. Karen, the neighbor who had called the police, faced growing criticism. Some neighbors spoke openly about how hurtful and wrong her actions had been. Others stopped inviting her to neighborhood gatherings. Karen felt isolated and began to understand the pain she had caused. She realized that her fear and judgment had broken trust with her community. One day, a few neighbors came together and decided to speak directly to Karen. They wanted to help her see why what she did was wrong and to encourage her to change. They talked about how important it was for everyone in the neighborhood to live peacefully and support each other. Karen listened carefully. She admitted that she had acted out of fear and misunderstanding. The neighbors suggested that she apologize to Angela and work to rebuild the trust she had lost. Karen felt nervous but agreed. She knew she had to take responsibility for her actions. The next afternoon, she knocked on Angela's door. Angela opened it and invited her inside. Karen looked at Angela and said, "I am very sorry for what I did. I should have talked to you instead of making false accusations. I want to learn and be a better neighbor." Angela smiled gently and said, "Thank you for your apology. Means a lot. Let's work together to make our neighborhood kinder." Their conversation was honest and respectful. Angela shared how painful it had been to be judged without cause. Karen promised to listen more and judge less in the future. It was not an easy talk, but it was a start toward healing. The two women shook hands. A small step was taken toward forgiveness and understanding. Angela also used this experience to teach others. She helped organize neighborhood meetings where people could talk openly about their fears and hopes. These meetings became a space where neighbors could share their stories and learn from one another. The community began to grow stronger, with kindness and respect at its center in schools. Teachers invited Angela to speak to children about the dangers of judging people based on their skin color. She told stories of her family and her grandmother's necklace, explaining how important it was to treat everyone fairly. The children listened with wide eyes and learned lessons that they would carry with them as they grew up. Angela felt proud to see the changes happening around her. She knew that one person's courage could inspire many. Even Mia, her young daughter, seemed to understand the importance of kindness and respect. Angela taught Mia to be proud of who she was and to treat others with love. The diamond necklace, which had once been the cause of suspicion, now shined brightly as a symbol of hope and courage. People in the neighborhood often asked Angela about it. She told them the story of her grandmother and the strength it gave her. The necklace became more than jewelry. It was a reminder of the power of truth and the importance of standing up for what is right. Slowly, the neighborhood changed. People smiled more, helped each other more, and learned to see beyond their differences. The fear and suspicion that had divided them began to fade. Angela's story had touched many hearts and taught everyone a valuable lesson. One afternoon, Angela stood in her garden, watching Mia play with other children from the neighborhood. She felt a deep sense of peace. The community was not perfect, but it was moving in the right direction. Angela knew that it would take time, but she was hopeful that kindness and understanding would continue to grow. Her friendship with Karen was still new and careful, but it was a start. Both women had learned important lessons about fear, judgment, and forgiveness. Angela believed that by working together, they could help make their neighborhood a better place for everyone. As the sun set, Angela looked down at the necklace resting on her neck. It sparkled softly in the fading light. It was a reminder that even in hard times, strength and love could shine through. Angela smiled, knowing that she had the courage to face whatever came next. Surrounded by a community learning to be kinder and more caring. After all that had happened, Angela's story became well known beyond just her neighborhood. Local newspapers and community websites shared her experience. Many people were inspired by her courage and the way she handled a difficult situation, with calm and kindness. Angela was invited to speak at community meetings, schools, and local events to share her story and teach others about respect and understanding. Angela always spoke from her heart. She talked about the necklace, her grandmother's love, and how painful it was to be judged unfairly. She explained how important it was to listen and learn about people instead of making quick decisions based on fear or stereotypes. People who heard her speak felt moved and thoughtful. Many said her words helped them see things differently and reminded them to be kinder to others. Meanwhile, back in the neighborhood, Angela worked hard to help the community heal. She organized small gatherings where neighbors could meet, talk, and get to know each other better. These gatherings were filled with laughter, shared stories, and new friendships. People brought food to share, children played together, and adults found common ground. Angela believed that building connections was the best way to fight prejudice and build trust. Her daughter, Mia, was happy to see so many friends around. She played freely with other children and sometimes wore a small necklace that Angela had given her. It was not as fancy as Angela's diamond necklace, but it was special to Mia. It reminded her of her mother's strength and the love that held their family together. Karen, the neighbor who had made the false accusation, found it hard to regain trust. Many people were still upset with her. She knew she had made a mistake and was sorry. Karen decided to change her ways. She started volunteering for community projects and joined Angela's neighborhood meetings. Slowly, she began to rebuild some friendships, but she understood it would take time and effort. One day, the neighborhood held a special event to celebrate their new spirit of unity and understanding. Angela was asked to speak. She stood in front of a crowd of smiling faces and said, "This necklace is more than just a piece of jewelry. It is a symbol of hope, courage, and the power of truth. We all have stories worth sharing, and we all deserve respect. Let us remember that kindness can change lives." The crowd applauded warmly, People felt proud of their community and hopeful for the future. Angela's words reminded everyone that no matter our differences, we are all connected by our shared humanity. As the years passed, Angela's neighborhood became known for its kindness and acceptance. Families from different backgrounds lived side by side, helping each other and growing together. The painful day with the police was remembered as a turning point, a moment that sparked change and brought people closer. Angela continued to wear her diamond necklace with pride. It shone brightly, just like her spirit. She and Mia grew stronger every day, surrounded by love and support. Angela's story showed that even when faced with unfairness and hurt, people can find strength, forgiveness, and hope. In quiet moments, Angela thought about her grandmother and the legacy she had passed down. The necklace was a reminder that family and love are powerful forces. Angela promised to keep sharing her story and teaching others about respect, so no one else would have to feel the pain she had felt. One evening, Angela sat on her porch, watching the sunset. Mia played nearby with new friends, laughing and carefree. Angela smiled softly, feeling grateful for the journey they had been through. The community was not perfect, but it was healing. The future was bright because people had learned to see each other with open hearts. Angela's story was more than just about a necklace. It was about courage in the face of fear, kindness in the face of judgment, and hope in the face of challenge. It was a story that would inspire many for years to come.